Yeah.
Because I would see children, I would never go, oh. Like, I would never... So we actually went to the clinic to get me checked to see could I have children.
Yeah.
I don't have that maternal feeling. I don't have that nurturing feeling. And I said, I don't want to have children. And the man said, but you look like a mother. Oh, I just see you having my kids one day. And I'm like, well, I don't.
This is what happens with a lot of women when we get into relationships.
Yeah. Domestic violence in that relationship that I witnessed as a child.
There's a time where people will be like, what do you mean you don't like this man? I mean, does he beat you?
My conclusion on dating apps is I think dating apps are a place where people can be whoever they want to be.
So let me ask you a couple of tough questions. Are you not worried about ending the line of your generation?
I think having children is a very selfish choice. Yeah.
I have 4 children, right? And I never at any point thought, okay, what happens if you end up as a single mother? We had a situation between us and you approached me about something that was said.
Yeah.
And you know, I really respected you for coming and pointing this thing out to me.
I'm not talking about going to church. They're very different things.
I've said that a lot of times too. Tell me the things you like and the things you don't like about me.
I've had that conversation. It's not nice.
I know, it's not nice. It's not nice.
You haven't met the right man.
Yeah.
The right man will make you want to have children.
Feeling good?
Yeah.
I feel like we had a whole podcast before we even started.
That always happens.
I know. Oh, I should have hit record. I
know. It always happens.
I know. Okay. Hey guys, welcome back. Okay, so today I am here with Rachael.
Hi.
Hey Rachael.
Hi.
Some of you may recognize her. Do you know what? I don't know if I ever told you. I actually watched you when I was in the UK. I used to watch you all the time.
It. Yeah.
All the time because I was obsessed with natural hair.
Yeah.
And so I spent hours watching videos and I used to watch you and I remember you went through this this whole thing of doing the natural hair and then you moved into makeup and I watched that whole thing and I was like, oh, she's learning how to do makeup. I need to learn how to do makeup. Like, because I didn't have a clue what I was doing.
I still don't have a clue how to do what I want to do.
I'm like, contouring?
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah. I think what's interesting within that content, I started to look at personal things, and I realized the personal things were like thriving. But I was scared to go too personal because it was like, at the time, this was like 2010, people weren't really exposing themselves like that, how they are now. So it was kind of like, do I touch on things or do I not? I think even to this day, one of the biggest ones that I have on my channel is speed dating, because I went speed dating. And I told the whole story, and people still love that story because it was the most chaotic experience. It was terrible. But
you know, when we spoke and had a conversation about doing this podcast, I was actually quite surprised.
Okay.
Because I feel like you are quite a private person. Although you are online, there are things about you that are private. There are things about you that I just don't know.
Yeah.
So when we decided
maybe it's a Scorpio in me.
Right? So when we decided to have this conversation around, you know, choosing to have kids or not have kids, I thought, wow, you're opening up a part of your personal life.
Yeah. Do you know what I think I don't feel ready to do? I've always touched on it on social media. I recently went to an event here in Ghana and we were having a conversation about womanhood. And I spoke about not wanting children, and there was this big conversation that came from it, and I posted it on my social media. It didn't go crazy, but there's a lot of comments on it.
Yeah.
And I thought, I've never really spoken about this openly. I've spoken about relationships here and there, like back in the day on YouTube.
Yeah.
I haven't really gone back to the relationship thing because I'm in one. But also when I was in my previous one, I think I kind of decided to keep that for myself.
Yeah.
Because at the time with my ex, he was in a very public facing job. And I didn't want to expose him to anything that could potentially harm his work.
Yeah.
And also ruin us, because I've seen so many relationship podcasts or couple relationship, couple relationship YouTubes that they go downhill because they've followed what everyone else has said and haven't really gone along the line of what they wanted to do as a couple. And I never really wanted that for me. And the partner I'm with now is very well known in Ghana. So it's like, I don't want to expose our relationship to that. But with that being said, we give space for our own things to thrive. Yeah. He respects what I do, I respect what he does, and we keep that kind of baseline. We're not public in terms of like online. We don't post each other like that unless you kind of know us. Because everybody that knows us. Yeah. But we've decided not to do that because of outside noise. And I think sometimes the outside noise will make you now consider things you never considered in your relationship that weren't of importance.
Yeah.
And I never want us to be in that space. I want it to just be us. Like, when we're together, that's our bubble, that's our world. And there's things that are for me now that I don't mind talking about that he respects. So when it comes to being child-free or not having children, he's always respected that of me. So it's my story to tell. It's never going to be a thing of he will ever stop me, and he could never stop me, but never say like, don't do this or don't. It's very much of, how do you feel about that? Are you ready to talk about that? Because it's going to open yourself up to so much. And I'll support you with what comes with that. And that's always what I've wanted. And I think the reason I also have kept quite private is because sometimes it's nice to have something for myself. Yeah. Like, sometimes it's nice to just live in my own bubble that's not online. Yeah. And I feel like when you give your whole self to the internet, what is there left for yourself? Yeah. Like, I actually want to have something for me. Yeah. And something that I can enjoy offline for myself, because it takes a lot to expose yourself online.
Absolutely. I know.
I know you know.
I know.
But a lot of people don't understand that. It's not easy to be vulnerable with strangers.
Yes.
Like, I don't know these people. Yeah. I don't know if they know me. Like,
and just judge you.
Yeah, and people are going to judge regardless. I'm so used to having judgment. Like, I've been so vocal in my career, had everything you can think of thrown at me. So I'm not even phased by that. Yeah. But it's also, now that you've taken your personal life into it, people are now going to judge you based on what they believe is right and wrong, not on what you've decided for yourself. Right. And if you're not a strong person, it's easy to follow what everyone's saying. Absolutely. So, and I don't feel like I would do that anyway. But I've just felt like, you know what, I'm at that point now where, why not? Let's have the conversation. Because at the end of the day, there's a lot of talk online about people not wanting to have children, especially as Black women decide not to have children. Yeah. And I'm just like, I've always felt that way, so why not just talk about it?
You've always felt that way?
Yeah.
You've never had like that maternal pull where, really, at no point?
I question, there was a time when I questioned, was there something wrong with me? Yeah. Because I would see children, I would never go, oh. Like, I would never be like, oh,
that's honest, yeah.
I went back to, she's so cute, because she was literally cute. Yeah. But I wouldn't be like, oh my God, I can't wait to have my own. And I mean, because I have friends that when they see a child, they literally melt or crumble. I've never felt that way. I've never been like, oh my gosh, like, I can't wait to. I've never felt that. I might go into a shop and see like a baby jean jacket and be like, oh my gosh, it's so cute. Yeah. But because it's small and it's cute. Yeah. But it's not because I can't wait to see my child in it. It's always been like, oh, that's so nice. But I've never been like, I can't wait for, or, oh my gosh, when I have mine, it's never been that. I think if anything, when I was younger, it might have been a thing where everybody felt like they're going to have kids. So I was just like, well, I guess I'm going to have children too. Right. So, you know, you're like, my baby name is going to be this. Yes. And it's going to be this. So you'd write your list at like 12. Yeah. Which was what we do at 12, writing baby names. Right. But you'd write your list and then be like, okay, when I get older, I'm going to have 8 children. And I'm going to be having this. If I'm 21, I'll have... And it's like, okay, but what if life doesn't happen that way? And then also, I don't actually feel that. Like, I don't feel like I want that. Right. So is it me? So what I actually did, I'm 37. I gave myself to like 32, 33 to say, if that doesn't change, then that's it. I know I'm not having children. I actually gave myself space for just in case it changes, because I've had conversations with women that would say, I didn't want children, and one day I decided I did. Yeah. Or something traumatic happened, so I decided I need a child. I haven't gone through anything like that. I've been through things that may have led that way, but it never did. I think the only instance I ever questioned it was with my previous relationship. I had made it very clear to my partner very early, I don't want children. Yeah. He had a child and he wanted another child. And I actually considered it. Meaning it was like, I think I've met this guy that I want to marry, and maybe to make this work, or maybe to be in a happy relationship, I'll have a child for him. That's what the mentality was. Yeah. Or it was, if I end up getting pregnant by mistake, I might choose to keep it because he wants this daughter or this child, which isn't the right thing to do. But because in my head I felt like I'd met the perfect guy, I didn't want to lose the perfect guy. Right. Which I know so a lot
it's more
of us,
for him than for you.
Yeah. So we actually went to the clinic to get me checked to see could I have children. Yeah. But that was based on more, I was having really complicated periods. So I was like, there must be something that's kind of lined up with this. So let me go get a scan. I thought I had fibroids because my friend had fibroids. So I was like, I've never checked for it. Let me go check. I didn't have fibroids, but I had I can't remember the actual term, but it was like a polyp thing, which is like a skin tag on your uterus, which can enhance your periods being really painful. So I had to get it removed, which that surgery never in this life would ever, because I didn't get any anesthetic and I was supposed to. It was, they were literally scraping my womb with this thing, and never in this life again will I ever want that. I would never put that on my worst enemy. It was mad. And it actually like induces your next period. So when I was leaving, I was in so much pain. I nearly collapsed in the foyer of the hospital because I was in so much pain. And I had to be in bed for like 7 days or something like that. And I remember thinking like, this is traumatic, but it's also like, do I actually want a child for this man? Like, it made me question, am I going through all this for him or for me?
Right.
Because it was my womb at the end of the day. It was good to know that I had found something to get rid of it.
So you were fine, you could have children.
Yeah, I could always have children.
Right.
Even with this thing, I could always have children. But I never questioned if I could or couldn't until I met this guy. I didn't care because in my head I didn't want them. So why would I care if I could or couldn't? Yeah. And he came with me to the hospital and everything. Not to the hospital, to the appointment, and then my mum came with me to the hospital. And then afterwards it was like, okay, I can have children now. So if anything happens, I know I can have children. Like it was this thing of like, cool. But then it was like, but do you want them? And then if you do get pregnant, are you going to resent this child? Because you didn't do it for you did it for him. Are you going to be happy being pregnant? Because it's not something you actually wanted to do. Right. And then can you actually trust that this man's going to be around when you're pregnant? And then can you trust that this man's going to be around when you have this child? So there's always questions, because one thing, and I think it's made me even dig deeper, I think on top of not wanting children, I've never wanted to be a single mum. Yes. And I think that's tied into maybe the way I saw my mum struggle. I never wanted that for myself. Yeah. I've been around married couples and still seen them struggle in their marriage. Yeah. So it was like, even if I'm married and have a child, there's a possibility I could still be a single mother in my marriage. I could possibly get divorced. Even if I don't get married, I could be a single mum because this man can decide one day he doesn't want to be here anymore. Yeah. The bottom line was, it's always a possibility that I'm going to be a single mother. And I think that was more of the fear than anything. So it was like, yeah, I don't want to. Do you
think that's what shaped your decision?
Maybe I think that's what shaped it, and maybe that was one of the reasons why. And maybe there's more to unpack there one day, I don't know. But it was also like, I don't have that maternal feeling. I don't have that nurturing feeling. Even though everyone says that you'd be a great mother and you are quite nurturing, but yet that's to your opinion. Yeah. If I have my own child, would I be that with mine? Maybe it'll kick him one day, I don't know. And even like with my nieces, I've got 2 nieces and I'm not the most nurturing with them. Like, I love them to the end of the earth, but I'm not the most nurturing with them. And I just realised maybe it's just not me. And then I just sit back and think, but why am I trying so hard to figure out why am I not nurturing? Yeah. Maybe it's just not for me. And that came down to this whole thing of women being raised to believe they have to have children. Yes.
Do you think that has been ingrained in us? Like, this path has been led for us. So you get married, you have children, you have a mortgage, and you know.
But if that wasn't in my household, that's what's interesting. My mum has never asked me when you're having kids. She's never said to me, if anything, she said to me, don't have them. It was more so, go live your life. Yeah. So my mum never has pressured me to have kids. If anything, now she's been asking me about marriage. Yeah. Because she's like, you're getting older, what's going on, kind of thing. But she's never pressured me to have children. There's been nobody in my family that's ever said, when are you having children? It's never been a conversation.
So have you had this conversation with her at all?
Never. She's never said to me, okay, do you want to have kids? My sister's got 2. She's never said, it's never been, like, I'm one of 3 girls. We've never had that conversation as a family to say, when are you girls having children? What's going? It's never been a thing in my household. Wow. So maybe because it had never been a thing, I never had the pressure. Then it was also never a thing from anyone else in my family. No one had ever said, Rachel, when are you having kids? I've got cousins that will say, oh, I know you said you don't want to have kids, but you haven't met the right guy yet. That's always been a thing. You haven't met the right guy yet.
Yeah.
And then when I got with my ex, oh, he sounds like a great guy. Just have a kid for him. Just like it's gonna solve everything. And I was just like, no, it's not happening.
That actually will make it worse.
Yeah. And then I kind of made like an announcement to everyone. I'm not having kids, guys. So stop asking. Like to my friends and to like close family, like cousins. I'm not having kids, guys. So stop asking.
And what was the reaction?
Oh, you'll change your mind one day. You haven't met the right guy yet. When you get married, like it was always but, this, that. It was never like, okay. The only person that was okay is my mum. Okay, fine. And it was like, well, she's okay with it. Why is everybody else pushing? And I thought maybe it's a society thing. Everybody has this ideal that women are meant to have children. Yeah. And then recently I was at an event here. He's having a conversation about what is womanhood. And I said, I don't want to have children. And a man said, but you look like a mother. And I said, but what does a mother look like? And he said, you just look like a mother. You look like someone who's nurturing. But what does that mean? Like,
that doesn't even make sense anyway, because you can also look like a sister, but you might not have siblings. But and what does it mean?
But it's also a thing of like, I believe men have been raised to believe that women are of service to them. So why would you not want to have someone's child? Why would you not want to have children? What else are you going to do? It's kind of like, what else would you do? And it's been something that I've had conversation with men that I've dated that have said, oh, but you'd be a great mother. Okay, but how would you know? Like, what does that mean? What qualities have you seen in me that's now said to you, I'm going to be this fantastic mother? Yeah. Could be true. I can't even say they're wrong. But why would that even be something that you believe of me that I have decided I don't want for myself? And I think sometimes it's scary when guys have kind of put that on me in the beginning of like, oh, I just see you having my kids one day. I'm like, well, I don't.
Right? Yeah,
I don't. Or the thing of like, we're going to have pretty hair babies. I'm just like, for goodness sake. Like, it's not that. I've just made it very clear, even sometimes on the first date.
I was gonna ask, how's the conversation go down? Like when you meet someone for the first time and there's a potential interest, and you know that this is something you have to bring up pretty early on.
So I usually tell them straight away. I'd be like, oh, so what are your thoughts about children? And they'll be like, oh, I want to have children. I'll be like, okay, well, I don't want to have any children, just because I don't want this to lead on to something else. But with my ex, I didn't say it early on, and I think it's because when I met him, I was like, this is my guy. So I didn't want to ruin anything. I didn't want to ruin the potential of, if I say anything, he's going to run.
Right.
So I can't remember how the conversation happened. I can't remember if it was like one day we were just talking about kids and I just said, well, I don't want to have... I think it might have been something like that. And he was just like, cool.
Oh, okay.
He's like, okay, that's fine. And then one day he said, you know what, I've been thinking about what you said. Because it got to the point where it was a make and break. And that's when part of me was like, I wish I never said anything. Because it was like, I knew if I said something early, he would run. Right. Now I've said something, he's now considered to run. And he was like, I just need a moment to just think about it. So I think a week went by and he was just like, I want another child. And I said, okay, well, I don't want to have any children, but if something happens, I might consider it. And that's where, now looking back, I was shifting and molding myself for this guy.
Right. This is what happens with a lot of women when we get into relationships. Yeah. We see a potential and then we start to shift who we are to fit in with them, even though we know deep down it doesn't fit. And that's why a lot of us end up in relationships that years down the line we're not happy with, because we have tried to mold ourselves to something that we're not.
And I look back and I did a lot of molding for him, because in my eyes it was like, this is the guy I'm meant to be with, this is the guy I prayed for, this is the guy that I asked for. And when I actually peeled away the layers of him, he was in disguise. He was a fraud, basically, in disguise. And comparing that relationship to what I'm in now, and my partner has a child. He never wanted children, but life happens. And he
also didn't want children.
No, he didn't want children.
Really?
No. And I've known him a very long time, so I've always known he didn't want to have children. And then that happened.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it was like, I remember when he had, because we were friends first.
Yeah.
So when I remember we weren't talking at the time, we actually saw each other out somewhere. And he said, Rach, I've got a child, she's 4 months. And I was like, whoa. Okay. How do you feel? Like, I was so intrigued because I was like, I know you didn't want to have children. I was like, how do you feel? And he was like, I've got to figure it out.
Wow.
And he's still figuring it out. Like, I don't know if you ever have it figured out.
Yeah.
But I remember him just being like, I have to figure it out because she's here now and I've got to do what I need to do. And I was like, okay.
Wow. So did the person that he was with, did they know that he didn't want children?
Yeah.
Wow.
They actually had a discussion to not have the child, and she decided to have the child.
Oh.
So that made it even worse.
Right. What's your background actually? Just so to give people a better context.
Yeah. So I'm Caribbean. My mum's side is from Barbados. My dad's side is from Jamaica. But I'm more in tune to or connected to my Bajan side.
Right.
I've never gone to Jamaica. I don't know what part I'm from. I don't have a relationship with my dad. I think we stopped having a relationship when I was like 13. Wow. So I haven't seen my dad since I was probably 21, randomly out somewhere. And we just don't have a relationship.
Wow.
And it's just been that way. My mum and dad were together for like 13 years. He lived with us. And that's even another thing of like people saying I want to have a 2-parent household.
Yeah.
My household was a 2-parent household and it was hell.
Yeah.
So whenever I hear that, I'm always like,
don't think about that.
you can have 2 parents, but it was hell. I'd rather him not have been there.
Yeah.
Because even like I said, in that, my mum was a single parent and my dad was still there. And there's things I look back on that relationship and even my upbringing and I realised how vacant he was. There's a video that I watched recently and I've watched the video 20,000 times. And it's only recently I watched it, something clicked. It was my sister's birthday and we have a tradition in my house that if it's your birthday, 7 o'clock or whatever the earliest time we all get up, we sing happy birthday, just what we do. And in this video, we did it for my sister and my dad was just in the bed, just sleeping. And I've watched the video so many times and I don't know why I noticed it. I was like, wait, everyone's saying happy birthday and you're in the bed sleeping. What the heck?
Yeah.
And I realised how present he wasn't. He was in the house, in the room, but wasn't present. And maybe that's also a scar that I have when it comes to me not wanting to have children, looking at that and thinking, yeah, what was that? My mum had 3 kids at the age that I am. And a partner who wasn't present. Yeah. And I know a lot about their history. There's a lot of like domestic violence in that relationship. I witnessed as a child. There was a lot of, torment and torture, and not in like torment, but meaning mentally. Yeah. That my mum went through. That I have so much respect for her, but also so much sadness for her. Yeah. Because at this age that she was at, when she had us, I don't know how she did it. Because me, I would be on the floor. Yeah, like my life would be broken. And putting myself in her shoes, which I can't do because I don't have children, but just considering it, hats off to her, because I don't know how she went through that with my dad. I really don't. And sometimes when I hear people say I want a 2-parent household, I understand the sentiment, I understand the union of it, but sometimes when you actually look at it, it's not the best. If the 2 people are not on the same page,
absolutely, I feel,
or they're not fulfilling the same goal, it's better if people are just separated. Yeah, I know people stay together for the kids, but sometimes I just think
that's
the
most ridiculous thing you can do. Honestly, just for the kids, no.
And I understand if you come from a certain time where your parents might say, you know what, he's not that bad, he does this or he does, and it's like I hear it but I don't hear it. Just because you were able to go through it doesn't mean the next person's able to go through it. Yeah. And I think we're now in a generation where we're deciding we don't want that for us.
Yeah, because there was a time where people would be like, what do you mean you don't like this man? I mean, does he beat you? Like, that's the only reason you should not be in the relationship. Does he beat you?
But even if he does, it means he loves you.
Yeah.
Like, there's a generation that would say, if your man didn't beat you, he didn't love you.
Yes.
Or if your man didn't have any aggression towards you, he didn't love you because he was trying to save the relationship. Or he loves you. And I don't know if you've seen it, it's like my golden interview that I love. There's an interview between Nikki Giovanni and James Baldwin. And she's talking about the fact that a lot of women deal with the brunt and the disrespect of the man and his anger when he comes home. But when he's at work, he's able to put on a good face.
Yes.
He's able to make everybody else feel comfortable and give you the best version of himself. But the woman that loves you, that supports you through everything, gets the worst of you.
Yes.
And that has stuck with me for so long. I think I've watched this thing 10 years ago, however it was. It's always stuck with me because it's like, I'm the person that's raising your kids, looking after your household, even working as hard as you in some certain circumstances, but I get the worst of it.
Yeah.
So what is this?
Yeah.
So when I hear that generation say, just deal with it, put up with it, get on with it, just do what you need to do. I'm like, suffering is not love.
Yeah. No.
It's never been a form of love. And there's a conversation to say, like, why was that okay for you? I know there's shame, I know there's embarrassment, I know there's a time when women couldn't work and that was their only resolution. I understand all of that. But also, I believe that trauma is passed down in DNA and upbringing. That's now trickling down. And when do we say enough is enough?
Yeah.
And I think our generation is saying now, enough is enough. I don't want to go through this struggle love that you say is love.
Yeah.
I don't want to go through this heartache that you say is love and this pain that you say is love. It's not. Like, it's okay for me to be single. Like, for me, I have no problem being single. I was single for a very long time before my ex-relationship. And the reason I decided even to get in a relationship, because I was like, you've been single for 7 years. Are you a bit too comfortable? Do you know what it's like to be in a relationship? And I literally went looking for a boyfriend. And I think I found one a week later. I was just like,
really? How did you go looking for a boyfriend?
I went online. I saw him. I don't even know if it was on Hinge or something or something like that. I literally, because I don't believe in dating apps. I have my own.
Really?
I think dating apps are a scam. I think they're a bit of a con.
We have to touch on that because I want to know your opinions on that.
And I just saw him and I thought, oh, he's nice. And then I just thought, okay, whatever. And he matched me, and then we started. It was during lockdown. We started talking, and I think we met up probably 4 or 5 days later. And then we was inseparable. Like, we was just always together. I was always at his house, always hanging out with him.
But then the dating app worked for you?
Yes, it did. But my conclusion on dating apps is I think dating apps are a place where people can be whoever they want to be. And that's when I say he was a fraud. He was who he decided he wanted to be on the app. Or who he was in person. He was playing a game of, let me give who I said that I am, but it wasn't who he was.
Got you.
Because when that all kind of was revealed, it was like, oh, so this isn't the person that I really matched with. And that's when I realized, wait, this isn't the guy for me.
Yeah.
So I have like theories on that, but it's also like each their own, because everyone's seeking love for different reasons, and even relationship or companionship for different reasons.
Yeah.
At that time, it was a selfish thing of like, let me see if I could date healthily. Let me see if I could find the person I want to marry, because even marriage was still up and down for me. I still don't know if I 100% want to be married. But it was like, I'm getting older now. Let me just see if I could find someone to settle down with. That makes sense, that ticks my boxes. He ticks so many boxes for me. That's like, at a time I was just like, is he even real? And now I know the version of him who is real. It's like, well, that's why it was a dream, because it wasn't actually him. And he played a good game. I give him that. He played a very good game. Very good at that. But at the same time, it was like, I was so content in being single. I was happy.
Really?
Yeah, I was just the whole solo date thing, self-love thing, whatever it was.
Really?
Like,
so let me ask you a couple of tough questions. Are you not worried about ending the line of your generation?
No. And I say that because I think sometimes we feed into this legacy thing when there is no legacy.
What do you mean by that?
I think a lot, it's more like men will say, I want to carry on my legacy. And I'm like, well, what is your legacy? Like, what is it you're carrying on?
Yeah.
Because if I even look at you as a man, what have you done that is legacy worthy? What have you done that's actually of something that's going to impact generations to come, or even impact generations today? Is it just that you're a good person? Okay, that's nice, but what else? Me, I've done what I want to do in many capacities. I've done even more than I've even dreamed of doing in my career, and even just in life. That was for me.
Yeah.
There's nothing to say that the next generation wants that for them. And I shouldn't even be in control of what the next generation carries on, because that's me and my selfishness saying, what I've done is so great that everybody should have a part of this. But who's to say that that's what it should be?
A very good point.
I think having children is a very selfish choice. And I say that in a good and a bad way, meaning there's not many people that want to have children because of, I want to pass down good energy and good traits and good morals and good values. Some people, it's like, I want to see what my child's going to look like. Aesthetics. Right. I wonder what my child's going to look like. Or I wonder what my child's going to act like, or the personality. I wonder if who I am is going to be in that child. But who's to say who you are is worthy of being in that child? Because what does that mean going forward? Does that mean that that child's going to have good values and morals going forward? And even that's questionable. What is good morals and values in today's age? What even is that? And who are you to say that you have the capacity to not also mother, but also impact? Because I believe parenting is guiding someone, not telling them, but guiding them into their life so they can make decisions for themselves based on who they are, but also things that you've installed in them. Not everybody has good wisdom. Not everybody has good merit.
True.
Not everybody is a good person, and even a good person is questionable, because what does that mean? And then there's also that thing of like the pressure of other people for you to want to have children. Do you even have support?
That's a good point.
Because I've heard so many women say, my family said I should have children. When I got married, it was like, when are you going to have this child? So you had the child, and everyone disappeared. No one was there to support me with this child. They left me with this child. So now it's like, do you even have a support system that can support you and the child? Because you're going to go through a time where you don't even know what you're doing. Do you have people that are going to support you in that? People that are going to cook for you when you need it, or clean, or help you out? Do you have a partner that can support you in that as well? Because if it's your first child, or you don't even know what that looks like, you're both going through it fresh. You're trying to understand it. But then it changed your relationship. Can you deal with that? There's so many variables that I don't think people consider.
I think you're absolutely
that right. I have considered.
I
decided I don't want it.
I think you are absolutely right. And I'll tell you the reason why. Is because when I look at my situation, I have 4 children, right? And I never at any point thought, okay, what happens if you end up as a single mother? Because it's possible. It can happen to anybody. It could happen through death. It can happen through anything, right? And when I look at it now, I'm like, oh my gosh, 4 children. If I had thought about having 4 children as a single mother, would I still make that same decision? I wouldn't, because it's very tough, especially as they grow older, they become teenagers. Dealing with that as a single parent is tough. Very, very tough. There's been times where I've had to like call up my partner. I'm not talking about their father, I'm talking about my partner. And I'm like, what do I do? Like sometimes I need advice from him. Sometimes he has to speak to them because I'm beyond my limit.
Your capacity is done.
You know, and we have to understand these things. So I actually think your thought process was actually a very smart one. It was filled with wisdom, because you have to think of these things. It's not just about, as you say, what are my children going to look like when I have them? It has to go beyond that.
For me, it was also about capacity of myself. I can just about look after myself. Like, I'm still doing life.
Right.
Can I even do that for someone else? And I see a lot of sacrifice that you have to do when you have children.
It is about sacrifice.
I'm not willing to do that. I'm sorry. Like, I'm not willing to do that. For me, where I'm at in my life, I've got so many things that I need to get right for me in my life. There's no way I have the capacity to do that for someone else. And people will say, well, your partner's got a child. How would you do that for them? I think that's a separate conversation, because that's their unit. The mother and this father has their unit. If anything, I'm supporting it. There may be things that he may require of me to do for that child, and that's a conversation if we get to marriage, or if we, we're 2 years in. That's still quite a fresh thing. I've never come in saying, I'm now going to be the stepmom or the bonus mum. It's always been like, I go behind what you need me to do, or follow behind what you need me to do. But it's never been a thing right now, because that's just not the situation that we're in. And that's his unit, like that's his situation that he co-parents with. I can't come in and say what it is and what it isn't, because it's not for me to say. I'm very respectful of it, and I keep myself to myself, and when I'm needed, I do what I do. But I also feel like when you have your own, it's a different conversation to when you are a stepmom or a bonus mum or whatever, because there is also the option to leave.
Yeah.
Like, you come and you go.
Yeah.
It's like, I have 2 nieces, I come and I go. They're not attached to me.
Yeah.
Your children are attached to you till their life is ended and beyond, and when your life is ended and beyond. So that's a life commitment. And when I see people having children just for the fun of it, I'm like, that's a life commitment. Like, this man that you hate so much, it's gonna be in your life whether you see him or not.
Even get me started.
He's gonna be there with you, and I'm a child of that.
Yeah.
My dad's not around, but he's still attached to me through blood, through DNA. Like, it is what it is at the end of the day. And I just sometimes feel like there's not this importance, or I'm gonna say importance. I don't think people are being serious enough with the choice of children. I think it's the most important decision you're making in your life.
Yeah.
And because it's so important, I've actually considered all of the things. Even when I look at the situation with my ex, I wasn't considering all the things because I was too connected to who this man was.
Yeah.
I was losing myself in who I believed this man was and not considering me. Because now I look at, if I had a child for this man,
yeah, you'd be...
What a life it would have been.
Yeah.
And I say that because he had a child... So during my relationship, he found out he had a child before me.
So he wasn't aware.
He wasn't aware of this child. And that, Rachel being supportive girlfriend, was like, oh yeah, I'll support you through it because, you know, it happened to you and, you know, we're a unit and we're one. And girl, I should have been like, well, that's your life. You deal with that, I'm out. And there was part of me that was considering that because it was like, well, he's got to deal with this. Our relationship's going to change. His life's going to change. Can I now deal with a man that's got 2 kids with 2 mothers? And we're still, I think it was like a year and a bit in. Right. We're still getting to know each other. We haven't really solidified a lot of things. We were talking about marriage. We're talking about getting a place together. All these things. Well, now that changes things. So what do I do now? Do I be supportive or do I leave him? If I leave him, is it a reason to leave? Because it's not about him, but it is about him. There were so many things, and that wasn't even the reason I left him. The reason I left him was because he wasn't considerate of me. In another situation, and I just was like, you know what, I'm out. But now I look back on it, I'm like, I was willing to change myself. Yeah. 1, to have a child with this man, and 2, support him with a second child.
It's not the best.
It was a wake-up call for me.
Yeah.
It was a wake-up call for me to say, Rachel, what are you doing? And what do you want? And why did you allow this man to have so much power over you and your choices when you were very strong in your choices from day one? Yeah. Why is it that I allowed this man to now dictate how I was going to live my life and what I was going to do? Yeah. And maybe there was a bit of unresolved daddy issues there that and I know I have abandonment issues, so maybe it was that. I was very much like holding on to him. Yeah. But when I actually opened my eyes and realised, because even what was crazy, after that relationship, he was on Are We Dating the Same Guy? If you know about that Facebook group, he ended up in that group because he got another girl pregnant.
So you were very lucky.
So God was protecting me, I tell you. It was just like, when I say the cloak and the veil came off, and that was the guy. Like that, he was irresponsible. And now I look at it and I'm like, if I had a child with this man, it would have been hell.
Let's be honest, the person that you have children with will make a huge impact in your life. Yeah. It will either be a positive one or an extremely negative one. Yeah. Like, I think that a lot of women don't think it through properly. Like, having children, like, you can say you want to have children, that's fine, but pick the right person, because if not, your life is going to be hell.
I give grace, meaning who you believe at the time was the right person. Yes. Because people change,
yes,
right?
Absolutely.
And we got to give space for that, because we all know men are men. Yeah. So people change, right? But I think it comes down to who that person is, like, in their core. Right. I believe as women, we know in our heart, head, foot, whatever it is, gut, who that person is with their bad and their good. But we choose which parts we entertain. We do. And we choose which parts we ignore. Yes. And I think some of the situations, if we look back at them, we can say, you know what, I knew. Yeah. I knew that was who he was. But I hoped and wished he changed. I hoped and wished that he would become a better person when this child came along.
Yeah.
Or I just wanted more for him.
Yeah.
So maybe I could change him. You know, we all say we could change him. I've always said I've done raising people's children. I'm not. I'm not changing anybody else. It's not my job to do that. But it's also a thing of you have to know in your core, and I now believe that it has to be from the man. If he wants children and he has said he wants to be this type of father, and I believe maybe follow behind him, meaning see how he is with people's children, see what values he has, see what's at his core, and then make a decision. Don't believe 100% into it.
I was just about
but
to say
make
that.
a decision for yourself if you believe that this is the person that you can have the children with. Because people change, people pretend, they do all the things.
Yeah.
But it's a thing of when you look back at it, even if it went wrong, you can say, you know what? I believe that he was that person.
Yeah. And I think you're right, because even you have to look at even in the context of marriage as well, you still have to question yourself with these same questions.
Yeah.
Because you could be married to someone and you have a child with them and you see the dynamic of that relationship and you know that things are not right. But some of us are programmed in such a way that, well, he's your husband, so you've got to have another one.
The vows are holding you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you sit through better and worse.
Yeah,
and now you're,
so then you keep leaving yourself open to this person and you keep having these children and this is not an ideal situation and you haven't put your foot down and said, I'm not going to have children with this person anymore because this is not working.
There's this conversation of like women having accountability and I'm very big on it, right? But we also have to give context.
Yeah.
Because yes, women should be accountable for decisions they make.
Yeah.
But we have to look at who they make the decision with and who was the person they decided to have this child with at that time.
Yeah.
There's so many factors that go into it. And people will say, well, you knew better, you should have known better.
Yeah.
But when you're in the bed with this person and they're telling you this, and this, and the pillow talk is sweeting you and your ear is like, okay, this is a guy. You can't really fault that woman for believing, even through action, because men are very good actors. Very good actors. Okay, there should be a whole academy for them. Very great actors. You believe at that time, this is who I believe this man was. Okay, why would I not invest in this? Why would I not believe that he's going to do the same? So yes, there is some grace that needs to be given, but then there's a flip side of this man has shown you
who he is.
He is not this person. And you decided, I'm going to change him, or I'm going to make him into this person. That's on you.
Yeah.
That is actually on you.
That is true.
And there's some women that I have to hold accountable to say, girl, you knew better. I'm sorry. You knew better. He showed you who he was. I can only give you so much to say, I empathize with you. But if it was there in your face, what can I give you? I can't really hold your hand and we can't do that. I'm sorry. There has to be a balance in it. And I also feel like I'm not perfect. There's people I've dated where I've been like, it was there in your face. It was just like, hello. But you decided, you decided to keep going because even society will tell you as women, and it's funny, you know, we all now say, he's a good man, Savannah. Do people watch Waiting to Excel? If you watch Waiting to Excel, that's where that quote's from. Yeah. The man was cheating on her. He was married. And the mum was trying to convince Whitney Houston's character to stay with him. And she said, but he's a good man, Savannah. Yeah. Trying to convince her to stay with this cheating married man. We use things out of context to kind of shape what we want to shape. Right. That is not the greatest quote to be using, but saying he's not a good man. This man is cheating on you, doing all the things. He's not a great man. Whether you stay or not is your choice.
That's your personal choice.
But you know who this man is.
Yeah, if you know that and you're willing to accept that, that's on you. That is on you. And
that's something that I think, you know, there's so many conversations, so many things that happen in the public with celebrities and things like that. Some situations, I'm like, I'm on her side. Some situations, I'm like,
do you know what? I actually have begun to adopt this attitude where I'm like, I'm not picking a side when it comes to these celebrity things. Yeah. Because having faced my own situation, I'm like, people never know the full story. Ever. And so therefore you cannot pick a side. And it would be unfair to pick a side because we don't know the full picture. There are things that will never come out just because it just won't.
And things get changed and exaggerated and we know as women, even when you have to watch it with your girlfriends and you're like, he did this, he did that.
Yeah.
Sometimes you embellish the story.
To
make it more believable or to make your friend be on your side.
Yeah.
But you know deep down, it didn't go like that.
Yeah.
You know deep down it never happened.
Yeah.
But that's just at base level with your friends.
Yeah.
So when you read these stories and they've gone through the mill so many times, it's like, okay, you gotta look at it with a little grain of salt and be like, okay, what is the overall story here? It is this, it isn't that. I'm very opinionated online, in person, whatever. I'll say my 2 pence and go. But they say, I don't know these people.
Yeah.
I don't know what their day-to-day is. I don't even know if they even care that we care. Like, at the end of the day, it's just the world we're in.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like friends and family and stuff, I think sometimes we don't even hold our friends and family accountable the same way we do with these celebrities. Like,
Yes.
We're so quick to say, you knew better,
Yeah.
But your friend, did you say the same thing to her?
Exactly.
No.
Exactly.
Like, there's situations right now that I've seen I'm in and I'm just like, do I say something or do I mind my business? And I've kind of been learning to mind my business, and I don't know if it's a good thing.
I think, you know what, I think you make a good choice sometimes when it comes to these things. And the reason I said it is because we had a situation between us and you approached me about something that was said.
Yeah.
And you know, I really respected you for coming and pointing this thing out to me.
Yeah.
Because I felt like, okay, and that's not to say that you were picking a side on it.
No, I didn't.
You just presented me with this is what's happened, right?
Yeah.
This is what this person has said.
Yeah.
I'm just letting you know. It's not my
I'm
business.
a transparent person.
Yeah.
Anyone that knows me, I'm a very transparent, blunt, direct person. Some people don't like it, fine. That's just how I've always been. I like honesty.
Yes.
Right? And I like transparency. So if I know something and whether it's right or wrong, here's the information.
Yes.
I'm a screenshot queen.
Yeah.
Okay, my screenshot folder is the biggest folder in my phone. I like people to just know what it is.
Yes.
Because then you get to decide what it is.
Yeah.
I get to decide what it is, and we're cool.
And there's no funny thing between us.
I don't want this to be no he said, she said.
Yeah.
Because I've been in the he said, she said thing, and it's dangerous. Okay. I was in a situation last year that was very public with a friendship group that I was in that to this day, I don't even know what happened because no one came to me with anything. Everyone made a decision on it. And it was like, okay, people can just decide one day that they just don't care about you.
Yeah.
And there's no facts presented. So what's going on?
Yeah.
I like people to say, you know what, this is the facts. This is what it is.
Yeah.
What's going on? And I say, okay, this is my facts and this is what it is. And it sounds very court of law kind of thing, but it's like, it's transparency.
No, I personally would prefer that because
Yeah.
I know where I stand with you.
Yeah, that's it.
That's all it is.
There's no smoke and mirrors,
Yeah.
there's no gaslighting, there's no nothing.
Yeah.
Even in my relationship, I'm like, here,
Yeah.
what's
Yeah.
this?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, this is what this is. We're very transparent because at the end of the day, I need to know what I'm doing. You need to know what you're doing. Where are we going? What is going on? Like, literally, what is going on?
Honestly, communication and understanding is at the core of all relationships.
But I'm learning how I communicate and how someone else communicates doesn't always get the same understanding.
Yeah. The
Based
comprehension.
on how they've learned to communicate and what the outcome has been.
Yeah.
So certain things I might say to my partner, which I think is like transparent, like everything is there. In his head, he's processed it as, what?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, everything is there. Why can you not see it?
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm confused. And I'm like, why are you confused? And then I've realised he's confused because the way he was raised, it was to interpret it in a different way. Because it's a different outcome that he would get with that.
Yeah.
So it's now like, oh, okay, we now have to work on communication.
Yeah.
But I thought I was an amazing communicator because I
Yeah.
give you all the facts. Not realising, but they might interpret this in a different way because of the trauma or whatever they've been through. So now we have to, and that's the part when they say relationships are complicated and there's a lot of work.
Yes.
That's the work.
Exactly.
That I didn't realise is the work. I
Yes.
just thought if I was honest with you, you get it.
No. And actually, that's where the growth of your relationship comes from. Being able to sort these misunderstandings.
Yeah.
You know, you have to do that.
It's not easy.
It's not.
It's not easy. And I think as you get older, it's something we touched on when we were talking before we press record. You look at the relationships around you when you was growing up.
Yeah.
And you realise, wait a minute, that wasn't what I thought it was when I was 10.
Yes.
That was some madness going on over there. But they were able to mask it very well, or they were able to cover it up very well. And I know there's this conversation of like the aunties are in relationships with men they don't love and all that kind of thing. There's some truth to that. Especially in the black community. I'm in a very like PDA relationship, meaning my partner holds my hand everywhere. He's very loving. He hugs me, kisses me. Yeah. No matter where we are, that's us.
Yeah.
I never really saw that growing up.
Yeah. Yeah.
I never saw that in my household. I never saw that in any of my family members. There was a time where we used to joke and laugh about my grandparents saying they used to hate each other because we never used to see them kiss. And it's like a running joke. And really, truly, it's not funny.
Yeah.
But it was a running joke because it just was what we were used to. And I look at it and I think there's only one relationship in my life where I can say they are kind of like that. And it's one relationship I've always loved. It's my aunt and my uncle. And they act like children. They're very PDA. She'll sit on his lap.
Yeah.
He'll hug her, kiss her.
It's beautiful.
And I used to always think, I want that.
Yeah.
But is it okay if I want that? Because no one else is doing that. So is that rare?
Yeah.
Because no one else does that. And I have relationships where like my ex wouldn't want to hold my hand in public, and I'm like, why do you want to hold my hand?
Right.
And he'd be like, I don't hold hands.
Like,
but I'm your girlfriend. What do you mean you don't hold my hand? Big argument about it. I remember one time in Oxford Circus, big argument about this. I wanted to hold my partner's hand, and he's like, don't hold my hand. And then some guy like smiled at me, and he was like, why is he smiling at you? And I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But maybe I should go with him because he would probably want to hold my hand. And he'd be like, what, you want to be with him? I'm like, well, maybe because he might want to hold my... And it's that whole thing of like, why was PDA a problem?
You know what? It's really funny that you should bring this up. So I did a video, I do these reels sometimes, and, me and my partner are, we show affection to each other.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've been there.
Yeah, right, yeah. And someone actually commented and said, this is too much. Like, this doesn't, that's not the basis of a real relationship anyway. And for me, my comment back was, we need more of this.
Yes.
We need more people showing affection to each other. And we need for our children to see it. Because they were like, oh, do your children have to see this as well? I'm like, yes, they do. Because I want them to see what love looks like. Yeah. And there's no shame in that.
Do you think as a community we're traumatized?
Absolutely.
Because I question, why is that a problem?
Yeah.
Is it because, I then put into it, is it a religious thing? Because I know in certain like Christian households, you don't do that. Yeah. Right? So maybe that's one element, and I consider that. But then is it also a thing of I don't know if it's a shame, because even this whole thing of like hiding our partners' faces. Yeah. Other communities don't do that. They're very much, this is my man, we've been together for 2 weeks. Yeah. This is my man. And I don't care, kind of thing. Yeah. And we're like, an arm, an ear, and a foot. We're very secretive because we're scared of he might be cheating or someone else might know him or there's something else. That's a whole different conversation. Yeah. But the PDA thing, I've seen that as well, where people are like, you're so lovey-dovey, like it's too much. Or this is all pretend, you're doing it for show. And they're not really like that. I bet behind closed doors they hate each other.
Yes.
And it's like, well, God forbid my man touch me. Like, what? Black couples go into couples therapy. Yeah. We don't talk about that. There's a lot of couples that should have been therapy before they got married.
I say it every time. Please listen.
There's a lot of, and I'm not talking about going to church. There's very different things.
I've said that a lot of time too. Like, that's not therapy.
There's very different, and it's got to be a neutral thing. Like, now that we've done it, and I'm an advocate for it. Because even when I express to other people like, oh, we're going to go to therapy, they were like, for what? Yeah. And I was like, well, if we're working towards marriage and marriage is forever, why would you not want to consider therapy?
You don't just go to therapy when things are tough. You can go to therapy when things are good too.
Do you know what therapy, I believe, it helps with? Figuring it out.
Yes.
Therapy is supposed to question your questioning. Yeah. And your journey. It's supposed to give you the tools that you can figure it out, right? There are things that we didn't even realise we hadn't figured out until someone said, wait a minute, have you considered this? I was like, wait a minute, no, we haven't.
Right.
Because we believed our bliss was our bliss. Yeah. But we didn't realise there were things that we had to consider in the bliss. So wait a minute, you know what, you're right. We need to go work on this. Yeah. And it's like, you don't only go when you're sick. Yeah. You're supposed to go when it's maintenance.
Go for a checkup.
Yeah. Like, is everything okay? And I believe, right, that there should be like a mandatory thing that in marriages, every 2 years you go see a therapist, like it's prescribed to you, and you do check-ins to be like, is everything actually working here? Yes. Because there's a lot of people that are coasting along, ignoring
swept
things
up in life
because they believe we're married. So what?
You can't. Where you going? You can't go nowhere.
Like, you're with me for life. So what's going on?
Yeah.
I don't want to be in that situation. I've seen it so many times, and I don't want to look back on anything and think, I knew better.
Yeah.
I've done it so many relationships.
Yeah.
I knew better.
Yeah.
But now it's, okay, give us the tools so that when we do get to the wall, we know what we're doing.
Yeah.
We know how to figure this out. Because right now we're in that space of figuring things out for both of us because we didn't have the tools.
Yeah.
And we're now learning, like, one thing that I don't know if I've invented it or I've made it up, but we have a book, right? And it's a notebook, and we write notes to each other, and we have post-it notes, so then we know that when someone's written the note. And it's things that you may not have been able to say in person, so you write it down. Or I might have been going through something, and I'm just like, I can't talk to him right now about it because he might be going through whatever, or he's at work. I write it down. We put the book on the dining table, so when he comes home, he can see the book's there, he reads it, he writes back. And it's kind of like a diary for us. It's like a journal.
Nice.
And it's our way of like checking in, but it's also our way of being able to express a different way.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you just don't want to talk.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes it's not the right place to talk. You just want to get on with life.
I love that you did
But at
that.
least
That's
we've been able
really
to communicate in a different way. I don't know where I got the idea from. I don't know if I saw it somewhere. But it was like, it works for us because now what I never said gets to be said.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it doesn't get to be unsaid, meaning he now knows how I feel. And then I'm not going to lie to you, there's things he's written that I didn't want to read.
Yeah.
There was uncomfortable truths that I were like, oh, that's how you really feel, okay. Let me read that again.
Yeah.
And process it because I didn't want to see it. I actually didn't. I said to him, there's be times where I say things you're not going to like it, but I have to say it because at least you'll know how I feel. And that's the uncomfortable truth that I think a lot of couples don't want to do. They don't want to do the work. They want everything to be happy and, oh, he gave me roses. Yeah, he gives me roses all the time, but what does that mean?
Yeah.
It's nice. I'm not going to, like, I still want the roses. But it's like, what else?
Yeah.
Like, what else is there that is the core, is the core values of your relationship? Like, even if things go wrong and we end up breaking up tomorrow, at least I know we tried.
Yeah. You know, the other day I was on the phone with Biggs and I said to him, I want to ask you something, like, tell me the things you like and the things you don't like about me.
I've had that conversation, it's not nice.
I know, it's not nice, it's not nice. But it's such a good thing to do because actually it brings up issues.
Yeah.
And some of the things that he said, I mean, the things that he likes about me, that's lovely.
Yeah.
But let's really focus on the things that you don't like. And he said a couple of things and I was like, you know what? You have a point here. And I was able to look back and think, you know what, you have a point. He was like, sometimes I feel like you're not healthy enough. Like, you don't drink enough water. You're not doing, like, I want you to be able to do these things. And I sat back and I was like, you know what? I actually want that for myself too.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that you've brought it up to give me another kick up the backside because I have this thing in the back of my mind where I want to be fit and I want to do these things, but I push it to the back. But you've brought it up. So now it's like we have this open conversation. So now you can follow me up. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
This is what you don't like. Yeah. I don't like it too. So let's work on it together. Now we're a team and we're doing this thing together. Yeah. So we work through our issues. And I think more people need to be able to have that conversation. If you have a partner, you should definitely do that. Tell me what you like and what you don't.
But
it's not.
He does it all the time. Like randomly, might be the car, be like, say 3 things you like, it'd be for 3 things you don't. I'm like,
yeah.
Okay. And we do it a lot actually. But he's the one that always does it because me, I just don't even think about it. He does it all the time, and I'm just like, right now, okay.
Yeah.
I guess I go through it.
Yeah.
And then he'll be like, okay, these are things that I think you not should work on, but he'll be like, these are things that you said that you want to do that you're not doing. Yeah. And he'll hold me accountable, and I'll be like, okay. He's like, you said you want to go gym. Have you signed up to the gym? Yeah. I'm like, yeah. So when's the last time you went? I'm like, okay, Friday we're going paddle. Yeah. Like literally like that. Like, because he knows I've made it an important thing in our relationship. So why am I not making it important? I can't say to him, I want you to stop smoking shisha, for example. Yeah. But then I'm not going to the gym. And we've both made an agreement to figure this out. Yeah. Do you know, I don't know how long we've been talking for, but it's been a long time. But you know, I just wanted to go back quickly and I wanted you to touch on what you said at the beginning because I think we didn't finish that. Okay. Where you were saying that you were having this conversation here in Ghana and you told people that you didn't want to have kids. Yes. Tell me how that conversation went. How did it end up? So it was a conversation between myself and this guy at the event. It's about womanhood from Women's International Day. Yeah. And he was shocked when I said I didn't want to have children. He was just like, but you have mothering qualities. You look like you can nurture. And I was like, But this whole nurturing thing, I think it's of service to men. It's not of service to self. And he was very like offended. And I think this is just, I don't want to pinpoint it to culture, but it's a conversation I had with a lot of African men.
I was going to say.
Where when I say they don't want to have children, they're very offended by it. And I know it's because they feel like that whole legacy thing about their name must carry on beyond them, and how dare you not want to carry on their name and their family name and all that kind of thing. I understand it. It's not even a thing of I don't understand it. It's just that's not the reason why I don't want to have children. It's just it's not for me. They feel like sometimes there's something wrong with me. Yeah. It's like, well, what's wrong with you? Why? Have you not met the right person? Have you not got the... And it's like, no, I just don't want to have children. And then it turns into, you haven't met the right man. Yeah. The right man will make you want to have children. The right man will get it in your head. It's like, why has it got to be about a man now? Not about me. So what, am I just a vessel for children now? I'm just to be used to have kids. Like, that's what it comes down to sometimes. And then it's a thing of, I always say this, have you questioned women why they want children? Yeah. I bet you haven't. Yeah. Because every time I said I don't want kids, it's always why. Yeah. But when someone says they want to have 5 children, you never say to them why. Yeah. You just go, oh, that's nice. And it's like, what do you want to have a girl or a boy? It always becomes this very high spirited thing. But for me, it's always like, but why? And I'm like, but why do I have to explain myself? Why is that just not the answer of, that's what it is for me, I'm okay with it, and I can move on. And you should move on too because you're not my partner. Like, how about that? Yeah. I understand if it's someone that's I'm dating or someone that's interested in me, because that's a conversation. Yeah. But if it's a stranger or someone I don't know, it's like, why is that such a big thing for you? Especially men. Men cannot understand it. It baffles them. Like, but why? Yeah. What's wrong with you? Well, why now is something wrong with me? Like, why am I now a problem? Or it's, oh, you haven't met the right person. When you find him, you'll be fine. Like, he's not going to fix me. And then one thing is also that people don't consider. Maybe I've gone through something. Maybe I've had a miscarriage. Maybe I can't have children. Yeah. Maybe I have fertility issues. These are things that people don't also consider that have actually led me to believe that I don't want to have children. Yeah. Or maybe I've just considered I might not be healthy enough. There's so many things.
Yeah. And it doesn't make you less of a woman.
That as well. I will say it's never made me question my womanhood. It has, however, made me question what womanhood means to me. Because I have sat down and thought, not does it make me less of a woman, but where do I fit in this conversation? Because what's also interesting for me, in my friendship circle, none of my friends have children.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's not a conversation we have because no one has them. But there's also a thing I don't feel left out because no one has them. Right. But I have friends in their friendship circles, they're the only one that doesn't have children. So they're now in a bit of a desperate mode. Right. I hate using that word, but that's the best way I can describe it. Where kind of any man will do. And that is scary to me.
That's very scary.
Scary and dangerous to me. Where they're getting on in age and they feel like, well, you know what, the next one, as long as he has this and this,
they're taking the bare minimum.
And I'm just like, yeah, but in years to come, it's going to be a problem for you. Oh, when we get to there, we'll get to there. And I'm like, so why do you want this child so bad? What does it mean for you? Do you really want the child? Or does it make you feel less of a woman because all your friends have children and you now feel left out? Yeah. Or do you consider that maybe I just don't feel like a woman because I don't have children? And that's another conversation that I've had with some women, that they feel less of a woman because their community or their culture has told them, if you're not married and you don't have children, are you a full woman?
That's definitely within the Ghanaian culture. I have to say that it is definitely there. I think it's getting better now, but it's definitely there. Like, you're not married and you don't have children, like, what's wrong with you? It's always that, what's wrong with you, you know?
Do you feel like it's an open space now to have that conversation, like more people are open to having it, like more elders are open to having it, or it's still a taboo?
I don't know if they're open to having it, but I feel like the younger generation is more like, this is the choice that I'm making.
And just deal with it.
And you just have to do it. I'm not having a conversation, this is my life and this is my choice. I think it's more of that stance rather than an open conversation. Okay. Let's talk about it, and you know, I don't think it's
because you can't beat me.
Exactly. Are you coming to impregnate me? Like, you know, how's that gonna happen? You know, it's just, I think people are realizing what they want from life a lot earlier on, and saying, look, this is what I'm doing and this is what I'm not doing. And
I think it's also a thing of, and I say to a lot of men, have you sat down with your grandmothers and your mothers and had conversations about their life? Because if you actually did, you would realize why a lot of us don't want to have children. We were there in the kitchen with them. We were there in the living room with them, hearing their woes and their struggles and realizing, maybe that's not for me. But what you guys saw was they got on with it. They made a way. They figured it out without complaining. They complained, just that you weren't there because you were outside playing or you were doing whatever. You didn't experience that conversation with them, but we did. And when I hear men that always say, I want a woman like my mum, I want to be strong like my mum. Your mum wasn't strong by choice. She was surviving. She didn't want to be strong. If she had her way, she'd want soft life too. But it wasn't given to her because she had to make her way. She had to figure it out. So when I hear men say, I want a strong woman, I'll say to them, it's not me. I'm sorry, it's not me. I can be strong. I have strong qualities. But this warrior woman that you want, it's not me. Because there's going to be times where I'm going to need you because I'm weak. There's going to be times where I don't know how to figure this out and you got to figure it out. I can't be this dual, know-all woman for you that your mother was, because your mother, unfortunately, and it is sad to say, she gave you a false ideal of what a strong woman is because she didn't know anything else. And now that you've adopted of that ideal of what a strong woman is, you haven't even realized that wasn't real. You've decided that is what I want. And you haven't held your dad accountable for the stress and the pain you put on your mum for her to become that woman. You've looked at your dad as like this hero because he did what he had to do. That, like, there's so many layers that I say a lot of people don't unpack, but especially men don't unpack when it comes to relationships. They really believe women are these mules of stress and pain that have been able to make it to the other side of the desert without complaining about having no water, the sun is too hot, the baggage is too heavy. But because they got to the other end, it's fine. But the men that gave them the baggage and took the water away and didn't give them shade when the sun was too hot, they never considered that. They never looked at it like, well, you know what, Dad? This might be you. You might be the problem here. Let me actually ask you, what did you do for Mum to be so stressed? What did you do to make our life harder? They never have those conversations.
That's a brilliant point, because sometimes we're just made to get on with things, and we're not having these conversations. And the more honest conversations that we can have like this, the more we get other people to think. You know, and you know, sometimes like when I do these kind of podcasts, there's negative comments. Oh, this person is this or this person. You know, I'm sure you're gonna get some negative. You know, you're gonna get some negative things like, this is a hurt woman. That's why she's talking like that. This is a what?
Pain.
Yeah, you know, you're gonna have that. You're gonna have that because you're triggering some people. Because we're not used to having these conversations. These are very real conversations.
Life is triggering.
It is. It really is. You know, you said something earlier that really got me to think, like, everybody wants to leave a legacy, but what is your legacy? Does it even deserve to be left here? What is it? You know?
I question even if legacy exists. I think legacy is very ego-driven, and it's very much about what you believe you have done to make a difference. Unless you've made an impact that's going to change something significantly or has impacted something in a great positive way, then do you really have legacy? Do I believe I had legacy? I think I've made changes in certain industries and spaces, but do I have a legacy? No. Some people could say, yeah, you do, but I don't really care if I do. It's never been my goal. My goal has always been to embrace, educate, impact, and uplift Black women. That's always been my goal. I believe I've done that in many ways. Does that mean I'm stopping now because I've done it? No, it just means it's a part of who I am. And it's always been a part of who I am to the day I die. So that is what I believe I'm here to do. And then when I go, I've done my part. It doesn't mean now I have to now get everybody that's in my bloodline to carry that on. I understand it's business. Business is different. That's money. That's a whole different, you've built a structure, you've built an industry, whatever it is, that's different. That I can understand. But even within that, does that mean that your child now wants to do what you was doing? If you're a lawyer and you've got a law firm, does that mean your child now has to be a lawyer? No. but it means you've built something.
Yeah.
Cool, amazing. I think that's absolutely amazing. But does it now mean that because you've done that, you're now, this big thing that everybody... I think ego sometimes just gets in the way of a lot of things. And when I hear men say, I want to leave my legacy, I'm like, but what have you done?
Yeah.
Like, what have you actually done?
I think the next time I hear someone saying that, I'm gonna actually question them.
What have you done?
Yeah, what have you done? Yeah.
And a lot of them can't tell you.
Yeah.
A lot of them can't actually say they've done it. And then when they tell you what they've done, did it actually impact anyone other than yourself in a good way? Or a valuable way? Or a way that actually impacted change? Did you do something that made someone consider doing something else? Did you do something that actually left seeds behind to grow?
Yeah.
If you didn't do any of that, then what did you do? Like, a lot of these guys that say, I'm always like, I will always remember, I met a footballer in a club, right? And everybody's like, you're getting all excited about it. Whatever. I just like, to me, people are people. It's just what you do. I've dated an NFL player. It's just whatever. I don't care. And I remember saying to him, so when you finish football, what are you going to do? And he was like, what do you mean? I said, when you finish football, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
He's like, I haven't thought about that. And I was like, okay. I was so like, okay.
Yeah.
And he's like, why would you ask me that? And I was like, because I want to know what you're going to do.
Yeah, what's your life goal? Yeah.
And he's like, I've never thought about that. And I was like, okay. And he's like, so you don't want to talk to me? I was like, no. And he's like, why not? And I was just like, because if you break your foot tomorrow, what else can you do?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I was like, well, there's some homework for you.
Yeah. That's so your personality.
Because it's like,
yeah.
And the guy that I was saying was in the NFL, he had actually injured himself. And because he injured himself, he couldn't work, he couldn't play anymore.
Yeah.
So now his legacy became, he started doing youth work.
Right.
He's working in the community.
Right.
He was helping kids that were on the road. That, beyond the NFL, that was his legacy.
Yeah.
I could say, you know what, this man's actually doing something that's beyond himself. I think he started a foundation or something. But then he went on to try in the Paralympics. Like, he was doing things that were leaving trails behind. That, I think he has children now, he's married, I don't know. But that could be something he moves on with. But this footballer guy, I think I actually stunned him because he was just like, I don't care about the bottles and the...
Yeah.
I'm one person, you see me in the club, I'm so unbothered by the bottles and the money because I've been around that for a very long time.
Yeah.
For me, it's like, so when this is all done, when the Dom Perignon is finished...
Yeah, what's next?
What is next? When you go home, are you happy? What are you working on? What are you building on? What is it that you're trying to do with your life?
Yeah.
Because the champagne is going to finish. It's going to finish. And if you can't afford it, you're never going to get it again. So what is left? And sometimes I question, even in a crowd when I'm in the nightlife, I always think to myself, like, you lot are throwing this money, yeah? But there's people outside that are hungry. Go do something with these cities. Instead of throwing it to impress people who don't like you.
Yeah.
You're buying all this Azul and all this Hennessy, and I'm a part of that space. I hear it. But outside of that, what are you doing to leave an impact? Like,
I think this is like, this conversation is really great for people who have not married yet or in long-term relationships and are trying to look at what the end goal is. This is really great questions for you yourself to sit down and think about what you also want in a partner, because it's not just about what you get from your partner. It's very much about you as well. Like, what do you want? What
because when you become one, that's one, right? So what you both working towards, that is your one.
Yeah.
I know with my partner what we're working towards and what our goal is. That's going to be one. We both have separate goals because we both came in this with separate careers, and we've both been very successful in our separate careers. But when we will be moved together as one, what does that look like for us and our household? We're going to share the same name.
Yeah.
What does our name carry? Like, it's going to be carried through his child, cool, but when does it carry through our household?
Yeah.
And then outside, like, we represent each other. What do we represent? When I'm not there, I represent him. When he's not, he represents me. What do we represent?
Yeah.
Because I know it for a fact. He was traveling, he's in Australia, and I was here. And people asking me about him. And I actually realised how tied I am to him.
Yeah.
It kind of was like, oh, wait a minute, I represent him when he's not here.
Yeah.
And then when I'm not here, even though I don't live here yet, people are asking about me when I'm not here. So it's like we have now kind of intertwined.
Yeah.
We have to represent each other when we're not even around each other.
Absolutely.
What does that actually look like? Like, what does that actually sound like? What is our goal? And if you don't have that as a couple, then what are you doing? Like,
absolutely.
What are you working towards? And that's just food for thought, because this whole legacy thing, it always spins me. I'm just like, What? Please.
Love it. No, I get it. It's great. It has been a great conversation today.
I've enjoyed it.
I have as well. I'm like, we could be talking
for hours.
This could go on way longer. That's what I said. We had a whole podcast before we even started. I think we spoke for about an hour before we actually pressed record, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's a great conversation. Guys, I'm interested to know what you guys think about what's been said today. Please leave your comments in the comments section below. And where can people even find you actually? If they want to know more
I'm
about you?
on, I think, everything that there is. Could be TikTok, Instagram, Pinterest, everything. Under UK Afrolista. So that's UKAFROLISTA. My name's Rachel, because everybody's like, I don't actually know your name.
Yeah.
My name's Rachel. And I'm on all those platforms. Like I said, I'm returning back to YouTube soon. It's gonna be still beauty content, but I think I'm gonna go more into this type of content as well, because I feel like I have a lot to say. I've always been an opinionated person, and I think I give good perspective on like food for thought. Yeah. So I have considered doing a podcast. I don't know if it's gonna happen, but it's something I've considered. Yeah. But yeah, that's where you can find me if you want to find me.
There you go. So go ahead, look out for her podcast if it comes along, or just support her on her YouTube channel anyway. So that's the end of today's video. Hope you've enjoyed it. Don't forget, guys, like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. We are out. Let's see if I found it. Hey,
that was good.